continuing series, Heaven Bless the Little Ones. Our program, as a preface to the concept of anti-abortion, pinpoints and highlights the concepts of Roman Catholicism. And we have dedicated our program in this continuing series to stop and condemn the murder of the unborn in abortion. And we really truly dedicate this series to the Immaculate Heart of Mary, the greatest mother the world will ever see. Tonight's program is one of the most extraordinary concepts and ideas and actual completions of where faith begins and actuality takes over. My guest this evening is the living saint of the 20th century, a very remarkable woman, a very remarkable interview on her part. And we humbly now ask you to watch this extraordinary interview with Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Mother Teresa, welcome to the Friends of Living Innocence. We have started this program as an anti-abortion apostolate in 1973 in order to counteract the Supreme Court ruling in the United States. Millions of babies are, of course, being aborted. Your work, of course, is internationally known, and maybe you could give us some insight into perhaps what you think the future will be in regard to the worldwide massacre of the unborn child.
See, what I feel that the child, the unborn child, being unwanted, unloved, and especially that the mother herself is creating this evil in the world. And we have that beautiful sentence in the scripture where God says, even if mother could forget her child, something impossible, I will not forget you. I have carved you in the palm of my hand. You are precious to me. I love you. This is the tenderness of God's love for the little unborn child in the womb of its mother, because it is created in the image of God for greater things, to love and to be loved. And that's why it's such a terrible thing to think that the mother to whom the child has been given as a gift of God, to destroy. And I feel that abortion has become the greatest destroyer of peace today, because it destroys life of the child, but it destroys the conscience of the mother also. And for years and years, she knows that she has murdered her own child. I remember a lady, after 8 years, she told me that every time she sees a child now of 8 years old, she remembers my child would be at this age now if I didn't kill it. So that followed them right through. It took me a long time to help her, to ask God to forgive her, and that she will never do it again.
Yeah. I was interviewing a young priest from India who lives in Poughkeepsie, New York, and he mentioned the fact that India, does it have a low abortion rate?
Yes, they have passed the law, but I think people are more and more getting against it. The law has been passed.
Of all the nations, India was lowest on the list for abortions, which is good work, and it's possibly
Yes.
because of your work too.
I think so. And also, we are now, throughout the country, we are teaching our people natural family planning, and so that has helped our poor people to regulate their families in a very beautiful way.
Pope John Paul II has spoken continually and consistently on pro-life, anti-abortion, and his speaking is in concert with yours. Two voices that cry out in the wilderness is the two voices that eventually be heard. His work and your work together have mounted to a great national campaign, international campaign to stop abortions. The work you're doing will be continued with new convents all over more convents in the United States.
That's right.
And in the world then.
We have many houses here, but they're not all over the world, over 200, 270 places we have houses now. And it's something very beautiful how the people are aware now of the presence of the poor. And something very strange is that the poor people are not destroying their child, the unborn child. It is better off people who want something else and are afraid of the little one, so they destroy the child. But the very poor people are not doing that. I've seen it again and again in all the different places wherever our sisters are working.
As the common people love Christ, the common people love the unborn child.
Yes, and the unborn child is something special because that's the presence of God and the gift of God, the child. I don't know how the mother can murder her own child. It's something unbelievable.
With your work that you're doing, you have no lack of vocations to your religious community. This is an extraordinary thing when today most women are not joining convents and yours community they are flocking to. This is probably consistent with the complete program.
Yes, I think our young people are very, very generous, and what they write in their admission when they are asked, why do you want to join the Missionaries of Charity? They say that they want a life of poverty, of prayer and sacrifice that will lead them to the service of the poor. There's a great tenderness and generosity in the hearts of young people. Only sometimes they are misled and they cannot choose rightly. But once they are put in touch with the poor and they touch Christ in the distressing disguise of the poor, immediately they feel, yes, I found he is there. I love him. I want to serve him. And they dedicate themselves, men, women. We have wonderful vocation of the brothers also, and now we have also missionaries of charity fathers.
Oh, you do?
Yes.
Oh,
here in New York.
In New York. So then you have both women, men for the religious vocation.
Yes, and priests also now.
And priests too. So the Lord has surely blessed your work, and the Lord is continuing to bless people who work with you and contribute for your cause internationally.
And then we have throughout the world what we call co-workers of Mother Teresa. They share in the work, and then we have sick co-workers, and we have young people co-workers. We have contemplative co-workers also that join in sharing the work that we do for Jesus. Because Jesus, we do it to Jesus. He has said, whatever you do to the least, you do it to me. So we can be with him 24 hours.
24 hours a day.
Yes, wonderful.
30. Thank you very much, Mother Teresa. It was my pleasure
God
talking
bless
to you today.
Thank you.
And we can thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So the interview with Mother Teresa you've just seen, and as you probably can tell by witnessing yourself face to face the extraordinary presence of an extraordinary person. And the extraordinary person of Mother Teresa will continue throughout the ages, the work that she does, condemning the evils of abortion. And this is the way it is, not the extraordinary miracle, but the very simple acts of planting seeds. A simple phone call, another phone call to Chicago. We were there, and you're with us here with Mother Teresa of Calcutta. Extraordinary documentary. And I think everyone should really review what she says and take it to heart, because at heart is really the life and the love of the unborn child. This is Tom O'Connor for Friends of the Living Innocents, condemning totally abortion of the unborn baby. Thank you very much again for watching.
It is now 2 for 2 for the crew of the Space Shuttle Discovery, with the second successful launch of a communications satellite today on their second day in space. Arabsat, the satellite launched today, will help to provide telephone and television communication throughout the Arab world. It is jointly owned by 21 Arab nations and the Palestine Liberation Organization. NASA today denied that the launch of Arabsat implied a U.S. endorsement of the PLO, which is the system's smallest contributor with only a 0.2% share. NASA received $11.5 million for today's launching of Arabsat.
Mother Teresa was the featured speaker this morning at the National Catholic Coalition Conference, which was held at the New York Archdiocese Catholic Center. Before she introduced Mother Teresa, Coalition Executive Director Kathleen Sullivan asked the media to show the, quote, good roles of women in the church instead of dissident views, unquote. News 4 religion editor Russ Barber was at the conference and later had an exclusive interview with Mother Teresa.
Mother Teresa told the conference on the women's role in the church that it was noteworthy that God had selected as the mother of Jesus Mary, an obedient, non-doubting woman. I asked her afterwards if dissident women asking for changes in the church, including the ordination to the priesthood, might also be responding to an authentic call from God.
I don't think our Lord has chosen a woman to be a priest, because nobody could have been a better priest than Our Lady. And yet she remained only the handmaid of the Lord. We have a special role in the church.
Mother Teresa, what should be the role of women in the church?
To be a woman, to be a mother, to be a wife, or to be a consecrated virgin.
Your opposition to abortion is world-renowned. What would you say to the critics of the Catholic Church who would suggest that church teaching opposing abortion and birth control is contributing to the world population crisis and world famine and disease?
Abortion is not solving the difficulty of population. Abortion is creating evil, because if mother can kill her own child, what's left for other people to kill each other? But killing life and killing the image of God can never be. Doesn't matter who you are or what you are. It's an evil. That's why abortion has become the greatest destroyer of peace today.
As you know, we have a new cardinal here in New York. From your many years of experience, would you have any advice for John Cardinal O'Connor?
Be only all for Jesus through Mary.
There is a worldwide epidemic of something called AIDS, the acquired immune deficiency syndrome, which is a disease that is largely associated with the homosexual community. Some religion leaders have suggested that AIDS is a disease sent by God as punishment for a sinful lifestyle. Is it?
This is the first time I hear of it. I have not, but...
Well, let me rephrase the question this way then. Is it conceivable that God might bring a form of disease to a lifestyle?
Yes, God may allow it to happen. God will not make it, but God will allow it to happen, like the floods in the Old Testament we read. It's to open the eyes of the people, and very often through suffering like this, people begin to realize that it's not all right what they are doing, and it brings them to need to say sorry to God and to say sorry to each other.
We are in the midst of a crisis just now with regard to the hijacked plane in Beirut and the hostages. What word of support and advice could you give to the families of those people who are still hostages?
We remember them, and we prayed yesterday very much for them, and I especially prayed that in their hearts God will give them the grace to forgive, because it's very important for them to forgive those people who have done that terrible thing to their families, because together with the sorrow, a non-forgiving heart is a double suffering.
Mother Teresa is 75, and there's been speculation that she might retire soon, but she told me that she would not do it herself, that just as God has chosen her, God will retire her. Super.
Thank you, Russ. Well, changing subjects for you, there are yet new contenders waiting in the wings for this summer's movie box office sweepstakes.
From all over the place, and now we have a novitiate in San Francisco, and the other day we had the profession of our sisters. What a wonderful your gift to the church and to the whole world, because those sisters now already have gone all over the place to bring the joy, the love, and the peace of Christ. For all works of love are works of peace. I will pray for you that you make your family life something holy, something like Nazareth, where love, peace, and joy can rest. And that from there you can spread that love. Especially father and mother, be one heart, full of love in the heart of Jesus through Mary. Keep the joy of loving each other and share this joy with all you meet. Let them look up, see how they love each other. That's what Jesus said. How will they know that you are a Catholic family? How will they know that you love one? By seeing, Jesus said, by this they will know that you are mine, my disciple, by this love for one another. This is something very wonderful. I will give you something very beautiful. A few weeks ago it happened in Calcutta. 2 young people came to our house and they gave me lots of money. And I asked them, where did you get so much money? And they said, 2 days ago we got married. And before marriage, we decided we will not buy wedding clothes. We will have no wedding feast. We will give you the money. And I know what that means in a Hindu family, especially top family. So it was such a big scandal. And then I asked again one more person, but why did you do like that? And they said, we loved each other so tenderly that we wanted to share the joy of loving with the poor you serve. Have we experienced the joy of loving? We have to experience. And where does this joy begin? There, in the family. The 2 of them loved each other so tenderly that they were able to make that big sacrifice, and they wanted the poor to share their joy of loving. See, this is the joy that comes in a family when God comes and chooses your daughter or your son to consecrate to Him. Give your child with great love. But you have to pray that God will choose your child and give your child, because something very beautiful we have in our constitutions. When a child's daughter, when a sister gives her life to God, to love Christ with undivided love and chastity, through freedom of poverty, in total surrender, in obedience. And in our congregation, we have a 4th vow to say, give wholehearted and free service to the poorest of the poor. We can do all that only because of our lives being woven with the Eucharist. And this is for you also. And Jesus says something so beautiful. He offers also long life, faithful, personal friendship, espousing us in tenderness and love. And to make that unity more living, more real, He gives the Eucharist. Same in marriage. He offers in the marriage that tenderness and love. And to make that unity of marriage more real, more living, He gives the Eucharist. So let us thank God for His gift to us. And try to teach your children to pray and pray with them. And no one can teach a child better than the mother. Because she teaches from the heart. Naturally, the mother needs the father. And you see always, they say, when father dies, the child is half orphan. But when the mother dies, the child is full orphan. But these two together, let us pray for unity in our family, in our families. And this unity can be done beautifully if you bring the rosary back into your family and then consecrate your family to the Sacred Heart, because it has never been heard that the family that has consecrated itself to the Sacred Heart has been lost. So my prayer for you is that you grow in sanctity through this prayer and love for one another. And you pray for us also, that we may continue God's work with great love, and that we don't spoil God's work, that it remains only all for Him, for the greater glory of God and the good of souls. God bless you.
Yes, invite everybody to stay for the press conference, and should she step up with you there? Would be best. I tried to move them down. We could invite them to come up and take whatever pictures.
We'd like to invite the members of the press that would like to take pictures to come forward. And at this point now, Mother Teresa will entertain questions from the press, and everyone is invited to remain if they so desire, or to leave by the door for the next event, which will be lunch, I believe. We'll give the still photographers an opportunity to take a few more pictures, and then we'll invite questions from the press.
Mother would like to sit down for questions.
Fine. Surely.
You sit down, Mother.
I think it would be better to stand probably. Privilege and honors. May we invite you to raise your hands, perhaps, and we'll recognize you, and then any questions you might have, Mother will entertain. Yes, sir.
Mother Teresa, you've been recognized internationally as the voice of the voiceless of the unborn child. Pope John Paul has asked you to speak publicly on this.
Our Holy Father didn't ask me to speak about that, but I have been always speaking about that because we have consecrated our life to God, to work for the unwanted, unloved, the poorest of the poor. And I think no one is more unwanted than the unborn child, and also more rejected, more thrown away of society than the unborn child. And because that mother is afraid of the little unborn child, so the mother destroys the child because afraid to have to feed one more child, afraid to educate one more child, the child must die. So that little one is the poorest of the poor. And since we are bound by a special vow to give wholehearted free service to the poorest of the poor, so everyone in our society is bound to do something to help the unwanted.
May I just ask you to give your name and identify your organization when you do speak? Perhaps we'll go.
Excuse me,
Yes.
and also to make sure that our work for the unborn child is profitable to the child, we are fighting abortion by adoption. So we have saved thousands of children, and they have brought peace and joy and love in many families who would not have had, who couldn't have children. And so now they have the joy of loving a child and being loved by a child.
Mother Teresa, with the role of the women's movement becoming so strong, pervasive as it is, to the point where it's now at the door of the Catholic Church, how would you say that the role of the women's movement should change? Should the role of women in today's world change any?
What do you mean by change?
Should women belong more so in the workplace now, or should they take on a more conventional role?
A woman cannot have a better place than to be. The greatest gift of God to a woman is to be a mother, to be a faithful wife, because she has been created for love and to be loved. Naturally, she has to share in the work to be able to, for her family and for the world also, but in the role as a woman, not as somebody else.
Mr. Wright.
Mother Teresa, I'm Dick Ryan, National Catholic Reporter. About 2 weeks ago, Cardinal Ratzinger of the Congregation of Faith said that many religious communities in the United States have adopted a feminist mentality, which has created an identity crisis. Your Maroon travels around the United States. Do you agree with this?
Excuse me, Mother. The question is for Mr. Ryan, National Catholic Reporter, that many of the churches have adapted a feminist attitude, and he's asking for her to reflect on that attitude.
I'm afraid our vow to God is to belong to God as a woman consecrated in virginity, totally, and for us to give that wholehearted free service to the poorest of the poor, and also by total obedience to the church, because we exist, because the church has accepted us to be like that. And also, we have so many millions of poor people to take care, so I have really no time to be busy with anything else.
The question is from Newsday, from Mr. Saraca, asking about the disparity that he sees in the conditions in the South Bronx, where Mother Teresa's sisters are, and the style of life on the east side of New York, in the area in which we're located.
I always pray, Jesus, please touch the hearts of all the rich people to give until it hurts. And then also, I can tell you one thing, we have now quite a long time in South Bronx. We have never had the reason to refuse anybody anything. People have been just very generous in giving and sharing the joy of loving with the sisters. But what is very important, that some of you should come and see the joy of the people and sharing that joy of loving by sharing the work with the sisters. This is very important for you all to come and to know the poor, how lovable they are and how great they are.
Okay, we'll take one from the lady in the corner here. Jane.
Mother Teresa, Jane Tillman Irving from WCBS Radio. There are fewer and fewer, it appears, young men and young women attracted into the religious life. And you were talking about that, but how would you suggest that that more people be attracted into the kind of religious life that you have led?
Just for those who may not have heard Jane Tillman Irving from CBS Radio, she's wondering how more people can be attracted into religious life, and particularly into the type of religious life that Mother Teresa's sisters live.
The best way to attract them is by your own life, to prove that you live the life of a true religious. That's one first thing. How you pray, how you are poor, and so on. But for our way of life, that we get many, many, many vocations. In Calcutta, we have big novitiate. Now in San Francisco, we have a big novitiate. Rome, we have a big novitiate. Philippines, we have big novitiate. And in Africa, we have a big one also. And what do the young people write? Why do they want to join our congregation? They say, I want a life of poverty, of prayer, of sacrifice that will lead me to the service of the poor. And for us, poverty is very important. To be able to understand the poor, we must know what is poverty. And so it is very important that we live the life of poverty, that we live the life of chastity, that we live that life of total obedience to the church, so that that's our vocation, to belong to Jesus, and that Jesus can use us. And obedience is the best way of showing that we belong to Him, that He can use us, that we are at His disposal. And this is something that the young people today want to see. They don't want to hear so much, but they want to see. We get many, many young people coming, even right up to Calcutta, to share the work with the sisters. And what are they wanting? That. They come for Mass in the morning, they come for adoration even in the evening, just because they want to feed themselves that tenderness and love. By seeing the sisters, by sharing the work with the sisters, I think that is the living reality of God's love. What Jesus said, by this they will know that you are my disciples.
Lady here.
Mother Teresa, I'm Czech from Radio Free Europe, and I know that you were in Czechoslovakia recently. And I wonder whether there's any hope that you will be able to introduce the missionaries of charity to Czechoslovakia.
Yeah.
And would you send some message, greetings to your friends in Czechoslovakia?
Chick from Radio Free Europe, talking about the people in Czechoslovakia, asking if Sister will be able to have her sisters go to Czechoslovakia, and requesting a message for the people in Czechoslovakia who are her friends.
Yeah. We have opened house in Poland, and we are getting so many vocations in Poland, so that Cardinal has asked me to open the novitiate there. And so, as we have many vocations in Poland, and we are in East Germany also, in East Berlin and Karl-Marx-Stadt, and we are in Yugoslavia and other communist countries. And so we are hoping to open a house in Czechoslovakia, Romania, Hungary, and get all our people, all these beautiful vocations coming with the blessing of God to come to Poland and join our sisters there. We have 2 houses there. And it's very beautiful to see the eagerness. And I'm very, very sure that Our Lady is going to do something regarding our Czechoslovakia home. And also, I have gone to China, and they invited me to come there, and I'm hoping that there too, I will soon have a house, since we are already in Taiwan, and we are in Macau and Hong Kong. So one more step we have to take to get right inside.
This gentleman right here.
From the Wanderer. I'd like to ask you, Mother, in your experience, do you think there are more challenges to women to pursue their true role as a woman, as you described today, as Father Martin described? Do you think there are more challenges to that in an affluent society in the West, or in the poor society in India or a country in the East, or are the challenges simply different?
Tom Mangieri from The Wanderer, asking Sister if the challenges to women that both she and Father Hardin spoke about differ in the East and in the West, or are they the same?
What do you mean by challenges?
Well, influences or temptations that might tempt a woman to leave her true role and adopt another. Are they more intense in the affluent West or in the East?
So in the affluent West, there are so many things that capture. Well, as I said, For us, poverty is freedom. And so, in the places like India and other places, we have many, many, many rich people also there also. But I think it's easier for us who have things that we need, but without having to have a hunger for things that we should not have. And I think the people in rich countries are too much surrounded with all kinds of things that they have no time to give that tender love and in the home. That's why it's necessary to bring prayer in the family to be able to have that balance.
This lady right here. That's the spirit, and Channel 9. The question, I'm a little lost. I've been trying to remember your name. Jessica, I believe it is. Would you just repeat that question quickly?
Some people say that it is not enough to save the individual soul, that it is better to work with changing the society so that poverty doesn't exist in the first place, and that should be the role of Catholic missionaries.
It is not enough to save the individual soul, but rather to work on saving society and changing it, and that in essence would prove more productive in the long run.
But you cannot change society unless you make those individuals of the society come in face to face with the one that they want they should serve.